there, and on Tuesday we spoke to Kash Singh, who's a retired police officer who started the organisation, founded it One Britain, One Nation, and it encourages different communities, diverse communities, to celebrate Britain.
This organisation helped 7- and 8-year-olds to write a patriotic song to be sung in schools across the country, which was met with, I was going to say widespread ridicule. I think that's probably fair. I think there's quite a lot of ridicule.
Yeah.
I think quite often it's one thing to criticise the song, fine, isn't it? I mean, there were only kids, for heaven's sake, but it's another thing to question his motives, which seemed quite disarming, actually. And I think there was sometimes a determination to sort of see it as a government initiative. It was certainly endorsed by the government, but it was actually a grassroots initiative. In America, within the culture wars there's a big discussion about whether things are astroturf, fake grassroots. I don't think there's any suggestion it was in this instance. I think we can turn to Esther McVey, who's been involved in One Britain, One Nation for some years now. Esther McVey, welcome to you. Were you surprised how much the idea of the song in particular was widely lampooned? Is that fair?
Well, I think who had derisory things to say about it were the keyboard warriors on Twitter. It seems to be a lot of people on Twitter seem very bitter. There's a lot of sort of loathing of this country, and it wasn't regular folk. They saw it as a really positive initiative. Who wouldn't? It's about uniting the country together, bringing young people together with a sense of pride and confidence in their area and in their country. So it's a really positive initiative.
Do you think it was, obviously Kash Singh, who was an immigrant, came to this country aged 6, and he obviously thinks this country, he said to us on Tuesday, he thinks Britain's the best country in the world. Sometimes I feel like, immigrants are almost expected, especially in the weird world we've been living in over the last year. You're expected to, if you're an ethnic minority, hate Britain, basically. And any time somebody, sticks their head above the parapet and says, actually, I've come to Britain and I think it's a great country, then they're almost frowned upon. Do you think there was a bit of that going on?
Well, I think that's why your TV station is a great TV station, because it's giving a platform to I'd say the silent majority in the country who agree with what Kash has done. And you're quite right. Here was a chap who came to the UK age 6, couldn't speak English. He was, embraced by the country. And then he talks about how well he did here. He became a police inspector. And he said, when I retired, I just wanted to give something back to people like me in my community, to have, pride in the country. He said, I'd seen a lot of hate being a policeman, walking the streets, seeing sort of, crime and what had gone on. And he wanted to reverse that. He'd seen various initiatives to bring communities together, and he wanted to see it from, as he'd say it, embracing positivity, opening up your heart, getting rid of that division and hatred, and just something that was really positive. And here we've got a school in Bradford, St. John's Primary, who wrote this song, and I'm sure people will question the musical standards and sometimes maybe the rhyming and the words in it, but really you can't take exception to what 7- and 8-year-olds have written, and I think it's really positive. And I did go to St. John's Primary School, and the head girl there read out a piece that she'd written. And there was one key phrase in it, and I thought, gosh, if only politicians were as good at summing something up. And she said, can we put the unity back into community? And I thought that was wonderful of a primary school pupil to say that. And that really is what this initiative is about, unity into community.
Well, Esther McVey, thank you for joining us this morning.